What is going on, IE Sports Radio fans? Welcome to the year 2024. And this is the very first episode of the new year for yours truly, the SoCal Saint, and your favorite wrestling podcast on your favorite sports network podcasting company. This is the IE Wrestling Show, your direct feed for all that is professional wrestling on the only network that is your direct feed for all that is sports, IE Sports Radio. What's good, everyone? Shout out to my boys in the chat room, Taryn Rodriguez, and the head honcho of and newest Hall of Famer for IE Sports Radio, Larry B. Happy New Year to you both, guys. Thank you for joining me in the chat room live. You can also join if you're listening live on Spreaker.com. Shout out to everyone out there. Hey, shout out to Jen B in the chat room. What's going on, guys? We got a lot to talk about, man. It has been a crazy last couple of weeks. I hope everyone had a very safe, a very happy holidays, a very great Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, wherever you celebrate. And I hope you guys had a very safe, happy New Year. I know Happy New Year's, people tend to do a lot of crazy things, get a little, little tipsy there. But, hopefully everyone had a very happy, non-hangover-esque holiday season. So it's very, very awesome. Whoa! That's awesome, Taryn. Taryn said he's currently listening live here in the DFW area, so he's right here in my backyard currently. So that's awesome, dude. Shout out. How you liking the weather, man? It's been cold the last couple days. And rainy for one random day yesterday. At least in my part of the woods it was. So, a lot has happened since the last show that we put on for you guys just before the Christmas season. And we got a lot to talk about. A lot of great things to talk about because we are now officially in the month of January, which means the official road to WrestleMania has begun. Because WWE already started their trek towards the biggest show of the year, which will be WrestleMania 40, 2 nights in April. The dates escape me at the moment. I do apologize. But it'll be live from the Philadelphia, I can't even remember the damn name of the stadium. Wow. It's the stadium home of the NFL's Philadelphia Eagles. That is where WrestleMania will be taking place this year. And some not so great stuff happened. So I want to actually dive into that right now. I just want to get it out the way because it's a terrible story. And it definitely brings a bad light to a wrestler I used to like very much. I was very much a fan of his at one point in time. But within the last few years, ever since he joined up with AEW, All Elite Wrestling, and has basically become a shill for its maniacal, idiotic owner, Tony Khan, he has been just absolutely insufferable and just an egomaniac, just a person with a very short fuse that cannot take criticism whatsoever. Kind of, not to get too political, but very Trump-esque. That's the way I'll put it. Especially with his activity online on Twitter, on X, except for these recent events that took place over the last couple of days. Actually, starting this past Saturday, the day of AEW's last pay-per-view of 2023, which was AEW World's End on Saturday, December 30th. But before we jump into that, before I get too far ahead of myself, please, if you aren't already, go to X, follow me on the X, at IE Wrestling Show. That's at IE Wrestling Show. Follow at IE Sports Radio on the X, and check out our awesome website, iesportsradio.com. It's completely free to join, and you can interact with all the hosts of IE Sports Radio. You can check out live blog postings. You can interact with us there. You can check out our main pages where there's a nice little bio for each host. You can catch up on old episodes if you've missed a few. If you're brand new to the IE Sports Radio Network and you want to jump right in, that is the hub for all of our past episodes. So it's a nice little time capsule as far as old episodes go. And if you are really a fan of IE Sports Radio and you want to throw some shekels our way, please check out our merch store and show some love. You can buy your loved one or yourself a nice hat, t-shirt, whatever you think, and just check it out and give us some love, guys. Also, please follow us on the YouTube and give us a like and a share and a subscribe if you enjoy what we're doing. And please, especially give a shout out to our awesome sponsor, PlanetJerky.net. They have delicious 100% beef brisket jerky. It is so, so delicious. Just check it out. It's delicious. You will not be dissatisfied, I promise you. It is mwah, delicioso. PlanetJerky.net. Planet Jerky. This jerky is on a whole other planet. Ooh, yeah. My first Macho Man impression for the new year, guys. So, leading into that, what I was trying to get at, what broke, I woke up on Saturday morning not expecting that the internet wrestling community would be crumbling beneath itself, because Nick Hausman of House of Wrestling, he is a journalist, a quote-unquote journalist for professional wrestling. He has a podcast just like myself, The House of Wrestling. It's spelled Haus, because his name is Hausman. He broke a story that stated that Chris Jericho has been acting very Harvey Weinstein-esque, is the best way I can put it, where he's been basically using his position of power within AEW to put on a sort of casting couch scenario for these up-and-coming female wrestlers. One in particular that always stood out whenever AEW first started, because it was a big deal whenever they did sign her, because at the time, back whenever AEW launched in 2019, she was a very hot commodity on the indie wrestling scene. She was Smiley Kylie Rae. Very, very talented girl, especially for her age. She was, I think, in her early 20s at the time. Very cute girl. Very great in the ring. She was very talented. She had a very, I would say, Bayley-esque, gimmick where she was just very affectionate towards the fans. She was just very more like almost an adolescent type of gimmick, where she was, yes, she's an adult, but she's acting very childlike, I guess, in a way, is the best way to describe it. But it was very popular, the gimmick was, and she was gaining a lot of steam on the indie scene, so it made a lot of sense that AEW would want to, in the early stages of this company, pick up a hot female talent like hers, building their women's wrestling roster. And a lot of fans, especially myself, thought that they were going to build the roster around Dr. Britt Baker and Kylie Rae. I thought these two were going to be the two main stars of its women's roster. They were going to be the faces of it. And then, without warning, before the year was over, Kylie Rae had quietly asked for her release. And there was no explanation given. There was a question that was posed to Tony Khan at a media scrum at one of the earliest shows of AEW, where he just said it was an amicable release. We would love to have her back, and he couldn't say much more on that. You can find the footage yourself. It's been all over Twitter since this story broke. Apparently, the reason for the release, because she was one of those talents. If the story is to be believed, it goes like this. Chris Jericho invited her to a party at his hotel room after an AEW event. She agreed to go, under the assumption that there was going to be more people there. And when she arrived, that wasn't the case. It was only Chris Jericho. Now, I have to preface this. This is all allegedly, just to cover our asses here. It's allegedly. This is how the alleged story goes. She became uncomfortable at his advances, and she left. And not long after that, the quote-unquote amicable split from AEW happened. And not a lot of people know this, unless you're a Kylie Rae fan, that she ended up having some sort of substance abuse issue that she ended up addressing. So good for her. She's been sober for quite some time now. She is now a new mother, and she's training to get back in the ring. So I just want to say good graces to her. But whenever the story was broke by Nick Hausman this past weekend, Kylie Rae very subtly liked the story and commented with a heart emoji. She didn't deny it, but I think that heart emoji speaks volumes that Chris Jericho's silence is now becoming even louder, because Jericho has not said a thing on X, on anywhere. He's been radio silent for the first time on X in a very, 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 very long time, because Jericho is always on X, either insulting a fan or touting AEW's greatness where there is none. He's very vocal on social media platforms, but after this story broke, he has been absolutely radio silent. And, you know, yes, this is all allegedly, because in the court of public opinion, silence speaks louder than words, especially in instances like this. So, you guys, fans out there listening to this, you can make your own assumptions. You could delve more into the story if you want. But Kylie Rae wasn't the only one that came out saying something. Indie wrestling legend Lufisto, who already came out earlier last year stating that AEW was a toxic environment, that she was blacklisted from ever working there by other female wrestlers and male talent as well, she chimed in basically confirming the story as well. So, if it walks like a duck, if it talks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, you already know the answer. But this is all alleged. But Tony Khan's handling of the situation has also been, I would say, very irresponsible for someone who is running a multi-million-dollar company. At the media scrum after World's End, there were questions posed to him about the rumors. And Tony Khan, very unprofessionally, if you haven't seen it, wearing a stupid fucking hat, like it looked like a giant, like, bear's paw sitting on top of his head with these giant fucking sunglasses. You know, he addressed the rumors and stated that AEW is the safest place to work in wrestling, which is such a load of crock shit. Because, here's an example, and I'm going to bring an example that happened this past Monday night on Raw. This past Monday night on Raw, day one, it was the very first event for WWE of the new year. Day one, Monday Night Raw, there was a tag team match between Jey Uso and Kofi Kingston taking on the team of Imperium, Giovanni Vinci, and Ludwig Kaiser. There was a spot early on in the match where Giovanni Vinci jumped from the middle rope towards Kofi Kingston. While in midair, Kofi Kingston jumped and hit a drop kick on Vinci, and Vinci, the way he landed, you can look it up yourself, guys. You can find it on YouTube. You can go to you can go to the X page, the WWE's official X page, wherever you'd like. You can see this yourself. Vinci took a very bad bump where his head basically bounced off the mat. I mean, legit bounced off the mat, and hard. And you could see that the lights were on, but nobody was home. The WWE's official in the ring did not take, but maybe, I would say it had to be within seconds. He saw Vinci, held up the X sign, which everyone knows that if you're in the inside, no, I mean, I'm not in the inside, but I mean, you know what I mean? Like, fans know. If you see a referee throw up the X, that usually means that a wrestler is legitimately hurt, and the match needs to be stopped, which is what exactly happened. The match was stopped right away. Kingston and Uso were given the victory. The doctor, the WWE's official doctor, was already at ringside checking on Vinci, and they brought him backstage for an evaluation, and he did suffer a concussion. How bad it is, I don't know, but it could have been a lot worse had they not stopped the match right away. To AEW, which is, according to Tony Khan, is the safest place for wrestlers in wrestling. Just a few months ago, Larry B, if you're listening, I know you're listening. I know you're in the chat room. I think you remember this. We talked about this. You were listening live on that episode when I talked about this. Jon Moxley and Rey Fenix were having a match. Rey Fenix picked up Jon Moxley and dumped him on his head with a pile driver, not once, but twice. He was legitimately concussed, and the referee did not stop the match. Jon Moxley had to continue this match concussed for way longer than it should have been. As soon as Jon Moxley's head hit the mat the very first time, that should have been an indication that this guy is not here. This guy is the lights are on, but nobody's home. You know what I'm saying? So he should have took it under his own, judgment, his best judgment, to say, okay, let's throw the match out. But no, he decided to let the match continue. And that's not the first time AEW has done stupid shit like this. There was during the pandemic, this was an episode of Dynamite. It was a triangle tag team match. It was the Young Bucks versus the Butcher and the Blade versus two members of the Dark Order. Stu Grayson, I think his name is. I think it was Stu Grayson. I can't remember exactly which one it was. But he took a huge bad bump where he was legitimately knocked out in the middle of the ring, lying there stiff as a board. And the other wrestlers kept continuing the match around his lifeless body. They dragged his stiff-ass body to the corner to initiate a tag. Did the referee stop the match then? Nope. He was knocked out for the better part of a minute before he finally came to and crawled out of the ring under his own limp strength. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. No company... Can you imagine if the NFL saw Russell Wilson take a hit, or Dak Prescott get knocked silly, and then hand him the football and be like, "Hey, it's second and third. You got this." No, they would stop the game and have him carted off to be checked out. There's no way that would happen. What if Anthony Davis of the LA Lakers was trying to stop a rebound, slipped and fucking cracked his head on the court? And then they're like, "All right, you got this. And hand him the ball back to pass it to LeBron or whatever." You know what I mean? Like, while he's like fucking, he doesn't know if he's in LA or in fucking Timbuktu. There has to be better officiating. You know what I'm saying? I know people want to always crap on professional wrestling, that they always want to use the dreaded F word, that it's fake. But it's not fake when legitimate injuries can happen. Yes, the winners and losers are predetermined. I've said this from day one. I know this. I'm not a jaded fan. But what they do in the ring is an athletic performance, which requires years of training for things like this not to happen. But accidents happen all the time, just like in professional sports. So, for Tony Khan to just sit there with a stupid hat on his head, with gigantic goggles for sunglasses, when someone asks him about allegations of sexual misconduct against one of his biggest stars, and he has the nerve to say that AEW is the safest place for professional wrestlers, it's just totally fucking irresponsible. That's my take on that. And that's all I got to say on that. If anything further comes out with this Chris Jericho, Kylie Ray, whatever scenario, I'll touch on it another day. But for now, that's all the time I want to give to it. You make your own assumptions, but that's my opinion on that. Thank you guys for sticking with me through that. We're going to take a short little break, and we'll get back into some actual wrestling news, and then we'll talk about the upcoming events this coming January, which we have TNA's first pay-per-view after the name change from Impact Wrestling back to TNA Wrestling, which is Hard to Kill, which is coming up very soon. Wrestle Kingdom is actually in the process of happening right now over in Japan. So next week I will have those results for you. And then, of course, the biggest show of January, my favorite show of the year, which always falls around my birthday. It is, of course, the Royal Rumble from the WWE. Stay tuned, guys. We will be right back with you.
What's going on, football fans? This is me, your boy Larry B, inviting you to join myself, Colin Reynolds, Mike Pat, and John Felipe for one of the most electrifying football shows you have ever heard. 3 and Out, right here at IE Sports Radio. Recap of the week before, a preview of what's to come, and of course, 3 hardcore head-to-head prime-time face-offs each week. You don't want to miss it.
Welcome back, IE Wrestling fans and IE Sports Radio fans. It's your boy, the SoCal Saint, still live here with the IE Wrestling Show. If you're just now tuning in, I took a really deep dive. I really took some time to explain what was going on with the situation that followed the hashtag Fire Jericho. And if you missed that, just go back and listen on the download or on the YouTube whenever it hits. It's a big story in the internet wrestling community at this time. So trust me, if you Google it, I'm sure you'll find a lot to read about that. So let's just jump into some wrestling news here. This is actually, it's not really wrestling related, but because of who's involved, I thought it was awesome to notate this. And I'm sure Larry B is going to be excited to hear this. We already talked about this between ourselves over text the other day. Yes, it is official. The XFL and the USFL have officially merged into the United Football League. The owners, Danny Garcia and, of course, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, announced that the season will start March 30th, 2024, with its 2 champions competing in the very first UFL game. It'll be the Arlington Renegades taking on, I believe, the Birmingham Stallions? I could be wrong about the name of that. It's the USFL champion Birmingham Stallions, I believe, and then the XFL's champions, the Arlington Renegades. I'm not sure if that's happening here in Arlington or not. I hope it is, because I would love to go to that game. But that is the very first official game for the newly crowned United Football League. So congrats to The Rock, starting a new chapter, I guess, in the XFL's crazy history. Now being a part of the USFL, we have one now official, I guess you can consider it a farm league, possibly, for the NFL, the UFL. ECW legend The Sandman has apparently signed a WWE Legends contract with the company, which means they can now monetize the Sandman with merchandise. He can possibly appear in WWE video games from now on as a possible playable character. And potentially, I don't know if he would even be warranted a Hall of Fame ring, but a lot of people who usually sign Legends contracts end up with a Hall of Fame ring at some point. Just like we talked about this on the last episode of the last year, Ken Shamrock had signed a Legends contract with WWE, and a lot of people are saying that Ken Shamrock may be announced as one of the inductees for the 2024 Hall of Fame this year. And it would make sense to see an ECW legend, and maybe not necessarily the Sandman, but if the Sandman, that'd be cool. But I would believe that Triple H would be smart enough to induct an ECW legend in Philadelphia, the home of ECW, during WrestleMania weekend. That would definitely make sense. Per PW Insider, a new WCW series will be created by the same minds who brought us Dark Side of the Ring. The team behind Dark Side of the Ring are behind a potential WCW docuseries developed by 7 Buck Productions in conjunction with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. If they haven't called Nitro author Guy Evans, they are insane, because he would definitely be the guy to help produce that show as well. He put out a book about the fall of WCW that's actually really interesting. If you haven't read it, you should check it out. They have apparently contacted several former WCW personalities to be a part of this show. There is no word yet on when the filming, that the start of filming will begin. But that is the rumor going around that there will be a new docuseries about the rise and fall of WCW. I know I mentioned New Japan Pro Wrestling earlier. This happened over the holiday break that I gave myself. That the ace of New Japan Pro Wrestling, multi-time former IWGP Heavyweight Champion Hiroshi Tanahashi, has been named the new president of New Japan Pro Wrestling. After a meeting with shareholders, New Japan Pro Wrestling has decided to place as the new president and representative director none other than the ace of the company, Hiroshi Tanahashi. As of December 26th, the Japanese promotion held a press conference to introduce itself to the media and answer any doubts from fans and stakeholders. The ace era has begun. That's so crazy to me. We now live in a world that Triple H, the former multi-time WWE World Champion, is running WWE. And now the ace, multi-time IWGP Heavyweight Champion, Hiroshi Tanahashi, is running things in New Japan Pro Wrestling. That's really cool to hear. This past weekend, the son of WWE legend William Regal, Charlie Dempsey, current NXT talent, actually competed in a match at All Japan Pro Wrestling's event on January 3rd, 2024. It actually was a successful visit, and apparently WWE is working towards a stronger working relationship with not only All Japan Pro Wrestling, but apparently WWE is interested in a working relationship with the female Japanese wrestling company Stardom. This comes to you, take it with a grain of salt because of where it comes from. It comes from the Wrestling Observer, which is, of course, Tuna Meltzer, Dave Meltzer. This report comes after months of speculation to WWE's interest in Stardom star Julia, who is a sensation there. These working plans could also involve a crossover story that could see the return of WWE fan favorite Sasha Banks / a.k.a. Mercedes Moné. Definitely unprecedented times in the WWE because if Vince was still running things, this would not happen. This would not be anything. There would be no intermingling with other wrestling companies, that's for sure. Excuse me. Congratulations to WWE SmackDown star Shotzi Blackheart. This past weekend, Shotzi got into a beautiful Vegas chapel and got married. Yes, congratulations to Shotzi. She married her longtime boyfriend, and then after that, she competed in a WWE live event in Vegas while wearing her wedding dress. Very appropriate, I would say. So congratulations to Shotzi, the newlyweds. Congratulations. It's really cool to see. Congratulations to the WWE's one of its biggest stars ever, if not the biggest. WWE Hall of Famer, of course, I'm talking about The Undertaker, who just received 2 Guinness World Record certificates. One for most WrestleMania appearances, and then another for most WrestleMania victories. That's right. 22 and 2, I believe, is his current record. So yes, 23, maybe it's 23 and 2. I can't remember at the moment, but that's awesome to see. Not only, that makes 2 WWE superstars that currently hold Guinness Book of World Record certificates. Natalya is the other WWE superstar that holds multiple Guinness Book of World Record certificates, and now the dead man himself, the Phenom, The Undertaker, is a Guinness Book of Records world holder. That's awesome. Fightful Select reported that internal WWE live event reports claim that WWE's live event this past the night after Christmas on the 26th in Madison Square Garden was sold out. The event was said to be the highest grossing domestic non-televised event of all time for the WWE, which featured the very first WWE match for CM Punk since returning to the company in late November. It was CM Punk versus Dominic Mysterio live in front of a hot MSG crowd. I actually saw a video of it because they had a lot of fans that were actually filming the event, illegally, but it was actually awesome. The fans loved Punk. For anybody saying that Punk is not a draw, just check out that, see the numbers. CM Punk is so elated and happy to be back in the WWE. I'm just glad to see that he's actually turned a new leaf, so to speak, and he's showcasing that he actually wants to be where he currently is, and he's no longer working with quote-unquote fucking children in AEW. So that's really awesome to see. Congrats to Punk. Congrats to the WWE for having such a huge sellout in Madison Square Garden. ESPN divvied out its Pro Wrestling Awards for the year 2023. For debut of the year, they gave that to CM Punk's re-debut into the WWE from Survivor Series 2023. Tag Team of the Year went to Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood, FTR of AEW. The Match of the Year was actually a split between their two matches in NJPW and AEW for Kenny Omega taking on Will Ospreay. Promo Artist of the Year went to AEW's former world champion MJF. Pay-per-view of the year was WrestleMania 39 from the WWE. Breakthrough Wrestler of the Year goes to LA Knight. Yeah! Storyline of the year was the Bloodline 2.0. Women's Wrestler of the Year went to its current Women's World Champion, Mommy Rhea Ripley. And the Men's Wrestler of the Year goes to the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. And that's from ESPN, their Pro Wrestling Awards that were given out toward the end of the year. And Sports Illustrated came out with their list just yesterday, ranking the top 10 pro wrestlers for the year 2023. At number 10, the man, Becky Lynch. At number 9, the current Intercontinental Champion, its longest reigning Intercontinental Champion, the Ring General, Gunther. Coming in at number 8, Swerve Strickland of AEW. Coming in at number 7, from NJPW, Tetsuya Naito. Coming in at number 6, the World Heavyweight Champion, Seth freaking Rollins. At number 5, Will Ospreay. At number 4, the current TNA Knockouts Women's Champion, Trinity. At number 3, MJF. At number 2, Mommy Rhea Ripley. And at number 1, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes, 2 for 2 on these end of the year lists, guys. That's awesome to see. This is a really big story that actually broke a couple days ago. PW Insider reports, and it was confirmed that Kevin Dunn, longtime producer for the WWE, is leaving the company. After more than 3 decades, Kevin Dunn is deciding to leave the WWE. A big factor in Kevin Dunn's decision to retire is changes internally post Endeavor's acquisition of the company, and that Dunn was never going to do anything that was dictated to him, as opposed to how he personally oversaw production in the past. It's not an issue of creative, but 2 differing versions of how things should be run from a TV production perspective as WWE seeks to cut costs. So he was definitely one of the highest paid people in the company, and for him to be on the outs, that definitely frees up a lot more money to be given to other costs or to contracts for potential new signees or re-signing current talent. So I say good riddance. See you later. Kevin Dunn apparently was a giant dickhead to a lot of people during his time in WWE, so he will not be missed, surely. Want to say, hopefully, best wishes to former WWE Women's Tag Team Champion Raquel Rodriguez, and we wish her a speedy recovery. Raquel Rodriguez announced via her Instagram account that she's been diagnosed with mast cell activation syndrome, MCAS. She said that this has kept her from doing things she loves, like working out and wrestling. Rodriguez said that her family has been the best support system for her. Rodriguez also said that she will share more when she has a better understanding of what is going on. According to the American Academy of Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology, mast cell activation syndrome is a condition in which the patient experiences repeated episodes of the symptoms of anaphylaxis, allergic symptoms such as hives, swelling, low blood pressure, difficulty breathing, and severe diarrhea. High levels of mast cell mediators are released during these episodes. So, man, best wishes to Raquel. She's definitely a great young talent on the women's roster, so hopefully she has a speedy recovery and can get back in the ring, especially with the WrestleMania season on the horizon now. That's really unfortunate to hear. That's why I was wondering where Raquel has been, because she's been MIA for a little while now. So hopefully Raquel could have a speedy recovery and get back to a WWE ring. As of last night's big event, it was NXT New Year's Evil. And I want to shout out former University of Alabama track and field athlete Oba Femi, as he won the WWE NXT Men's Breakout Tournament. He is now the Men's NXT Breakout winner and will be in line for either a North American Championship or NXT Championship title shot later down the line. So congrats to him. He is a big talent, very young talent that came out of WWE's Next in Line program, where they hire straight out of college and get these guys trained in the Performance Center down in Orlando. He is a former University of Alabama track and field standout. So they've had a lot of great success with former track and field athletes, such as the longest reigning Raw Women's Champion in that title's history, Bianca Belair, for instance, was a track and field star that had never competed in wrestling prior to her acquisition at the WWE. So it seems like they know what they're doing when they sign these track and field stars to contracts. We're going to take another short little break, guys, and we will be back with some more wrestling news. We're going to check out the card for TNA's first pay-per-view of the new year, Hard to Kill, and the current card for WWE Royal Rumble. Stay tuned, guys.
What's good, everyone? It's Drewski, the host of Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. On this station, we cover everything in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area. From where we cover the Dallas Cowboys, the Dallas Stars, Dallas Mavericks, Dallas Wings, Texas Rangers, TCU, SMU, we cover it all right here every Wednesdays from 9 to 10 p.m. Central Time. Make sure you stay live with me on the Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back, IE Sports Radio fans, to the IE Wrestling Show, your direct feed for all that is professional wrestling on the only network that is your direct feed for all that is sports, IE Sports Radio. It's your boy, the SoCal Saint, still doing the damn thing in the year 2024. What's good, everyone? So, before we jump into the cards for these next couple of pay-per-views that are coming up here in the month of January, I wanted to talk about what happened this past Monday night on Raw. So, the rumor going around was that WWE was attempting to get a former WWE champion to appear live on day one Monday Night Raw, live from San Diego, California, which, if anybody caught that, live in the front row was everyone's favorite fluffy comedian, Gabriel Iglesias, who was sitting live at ringside. So that was cool. I'm a fan of Fluffy, so it was cool to see the big man sitting ringside for a WWE event, and the elation that you saw on his face when the most electrifying man in sports and entertainment, of course, I am talking about the one, the only, the great one, The Rock, made his triumphant return to the WWE on day one of Monday Night Raw. WWE had to do a bit of a bait and switch because they sent out a former WWE champion in Jinder Mahal, which you could literally see the crowd. It was so funny when his music hit. You could literally see the crowd just become deflated. It was just like the air was sucked out of everyone in that sold out arena. It was so funny. But then as soon as you hear the "If You Smile" hit the music, but oh my god, the place fucking went ecstatic. It blew the fuck up, guys. It was crazy. And The Rock came out looking fucking jacked as ever. He ran down Jinder Mahal, laid the smack it down on his Rudy Poo candy ass. And then Rock said something very interesting in his promo. He said, The Rock is, he's a little hungry. The Rock, I think I'm going to go get something to eat. Where should I sit? Should I sit at a booth? Should I sit at the bar? Or should I take a seat at the head of the table? Mic drop. He chose his words very carefully when he said that. Should he take a seat at the head of the table? That was Rock's way of calling out his cousin, the head of the table, the tribal chief, the longest reigning WWE Universal Heavyweight Champion in history, the undisputed Universal WWE Champion, Roman Reigns. And Roman knew, because he took to X to leave a laughing emoji. That's all he left, was a laughing emoji on that promo. So, what does this mean for the road to WrestleMania? Because we have all been under the assumption that we're going to get a WrestleMania 39 rematch between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40. But, do they put on one of the biggest matches in company history with The Rock and Roman Reigns, the battle of the Anoa'i family, for who truly is the head of the table? I don't know. I don't know if I want to see that at Mania. Yes, that match definitely could sell out fucking 3 or 4 of WrestleManias, for sure. But this is my scenario. I believe Roman's going to go to Royal Rumble, wrestle and defeat Randy Orton. And then, in Perth, Australia, for Elimination Chamber, in front of 60,000 screaming Australians, I think the main event should be The Rock and Roman Reigns at Elimination Chamber. And The Rock loses to Roman in Perth. That just adds on to the legend of this unstoppable monster machine that Roman Reigns is. And then it leads into Cody Rhodes getting one more opportunity against the Tribal Chief. And if Cody can do it, it has to happen, man. I can't see him lose again, man. I just can't. It's gotta be Cody defeating this unstoppable force that is Roman Reigns. A man who just defeated Roman Reigns' cousin, the biggest star in Hollywood and possibly in wrestling ever, The Rock. That would speak volumes for a Cody Rhodes title reign, that he was able to defeat the man who defeated The Rock. That's just my opinion, though. That's a scenario that I would like to see. But we shall see. Because, I mean, with the launch of the XFL right around the time of WrestleMania, maybe Rock won't be available for WrestleMania, and he'll only be available for Elimination Chamber. That's my thinking. Because Rock was really hands-on with the XFL last year. That's what kept him from going to Mania last year. And the launch of the XFL is literally the weekend before WrestleMania, March 30th. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking The Rock is going to be at Elimination Chamber, not WrestleMania. But we shall see. This past Tuesday, yesterday, I keep saying this past Tuesday like if it was like 2 days ago, live from the Performance Center in Orlando, it was NXT New Year's Evil. the big first event of the new year for NXT. And we had big matches for the NXT Women's Championship. Lyra Valkyrie defeated Blair Davenport to retain her NXT Women's title. The Latino World Order, Joaquin Wilde, Cruz del Toro, and returning Carlito defeated the No Quarter Catch crew of Drew Gulak, Miles Bourne, and Damon Kemp in a 6-man tag team match. If you haven't seen it already, go to WWE's social media platforms on X or YouTube and see the wild spot from Joaquin Wilde, no pun intended, where Carlito and Del Toro literally launched him from the ring apron second rope. God, they launched him, it looked like about 10, 15 feet in the air onto the 3 members of the No Quarter Catch crew. It was such an insane spot. You definitely have to check it out. It's definitely something to see. Then we had a one-on-one match between Ariana Grace and Roxanne Perez, where Ariana Grace defeated Roxanne Perez by referee's decision, and it looks like they're starting to plant the seeds for a Roxanne Perez heel turn, because post-match she attacked Ariana Grace. That was definitely booed by the fans in the arena. A one-on-one match between Fallon Henley and Tiffany Stratton, where Fallon Henley defeated Tiffany Stratton, and under the stipulation, Stratton will now become Henley's ranch hand for a day. Had Henley lost, she would have become Stratton's servant for a day. So now, I'm sure there's going to be some sort of comedic sketch that will be filmed for next week's episode of NXT, where you see this prissy Barbie doll-esque woman of Tiffany Stratton working on a ranch, possibly milking cows, cleaning up manure, all that good stuff. And then, of course, I spoke on this earlier. Obafemi defeated Riley Osborne to win the men's breakout tournament. And in the main event, which was changed due to Ilya Dragunov being injured, he was unable to compete because this was supposed to be for the NXT Championship. Ilya Dragunov was unable to compete, and therefore the main event of the show had to be changed. And randomly, SmackDown superstar Grayson Waller showed up in NXT and challenged Trick Williams for his number 1 contendership to the NXT Championship, which Trick Williams begrudgingly accepted, not so much by himself. It was Carmelo Hayes who accepted on his behalf. But Trick went out there and defeated Grayson Waller thanks to a surprise appearance from SmackDown superstar Kevin Owens, who took out Grayson Waller, and Trick Williams was able to hit his finisher and retain his number 1 contendership title opportunity. Now, TNA, it is the new year, guys, so now Impact Wrestling has officially become TNA Wrestling. And now, the very first event of the new year for TNA will be TNA Hard to Kill, coming to you live from the Palms Casino Resort in Paradise, Nevada, January 13th, 2024. And these are the matches that have been announced so far for the big event. It'll be on the pre-show. There's 3 pre-show matches that have already been announced. Rich Swann will go one-on-one with Steve Macklin, 2 former TNA World Champions going at it in a singles match. In a tag team match, it'll be Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers, with Alicia Edwards in their corner, taking on the tag team of Frankie Kazarian and Eric Young. And Tommy Dreamer will defend the TNA Digital Media Championship against Crazy Steve in a no disqualification match. And on to the main card. ABC, Chris Bay and Ace Austin defend the TNA World Tag Team Championships against the Rascals, Zachary Wentz and Trey Miguel. Speedball Mountain, Mike Bailey and Trent Seven. And the newest tag team on the TNA roster, former members of the Schism down in NXT, are now signed to TNA, the grizzled young veterans, Zach Gibson and James Drake. For the first time ever, we're going to get a Knockouts Ultimate X match to determine the number 1 contender to the TNA Knockouts World Championship, Giselle Shaw versus Zaya Brookside versus Jody Threat, and another competitor yet to be announced. In a one-on-one match, we're going to get Dirty Dango with Alpha Bravo and Oleg Prudis in his corner against PCO. And in a 3-way match, this match could definitely steal the show right before I even announced the competitors. This match could steal the show, very much so. It's a 3-way match for the TNA X Division Championship. Chris Sabin defends the TNA X Division Championship versus El Hijo del Vikingo versus Kushida. Look, Larry. I'm looking at what Larry just... Sorry, I got distracted by what Larry said in the chat room. The Schism. That was actually a stable name. It was 4 people known as the Schism. It was Zach Gibson, James Drake, Joe Gacy, and of all people, The Rock's daughter, going under the name Ava Rain. They were a 4-person stable known as the Schism. Don't ask me why they chose that name. I don't. I don't know why. But yeah, it was a kind of a weird thing. It didn't really get over like it should have, and hence why these guys decided to not renew their NXT contracts and move on from that and go back to their old tag team name of the Grizzled Young Veterans. Next match on the card, it's going to be a singles match for the TNA Knockouts World Championship. This is Jordan Grace's Call Your Shot Championship match. Trinity defends the TNA Knockouts World Championship against Jordan Grace. This could very well be Trinity's final appearance in TNA, because just yesterday, rumors started circulating online that WWE is very much interested in bringing Trinity back to the WWE, and even Impact, TNA is under the assumption that she's out the door. So I believe at this event, we will see her drop the TNA Knockouts World title and head on back to the WWE, possibly just in time to be a surprise participant in the Women's Royal Rumble match for this Royal Rumble event coming up. So, take that with a grain of salt, but, if she ends up losing, I think there's a good chance we'll see Trinity, a.k.a. Naomi, back in the WWE. And in the main event for TNA, Hard to Kill, it'll be Alex Shelley defending the TNA World Championship against the former TNA World Champion, Moose. Moose won the Feast or Fire opportunity to become the number 1 contender to the TNA World Championship. For many people who don't know, I want to bring this up. For those who don't know, I'm sure Larry B will like this little bit of knowledge about Moose. Moose's real name is Quinn O. Janaka. I think I'm saying his name right. He is actually a former offensive lineman. He played college at Syracuse and was drafted by the Atlanta Falcons in the 5th round of the 2006 NFL Draft. And he went on to play for the New England Patriots, the St. Louis Rams, and the Indianapolis Colts before becoming a professional wrestler. He was released from his contract with the Rams on October 22nd in 2012 and began training as a professional wrestler in 2012, where he wrestled for Ring of Honor. He wrestled for New Japan Pro Wrestling, and his longest stint in professional wrestling has been with TNA / Impact Wrestling. He's been there since 2016, and he has not moved from the company whatsoever. There was a chance that he was supposed to go to the WWE at one time, but apparently an old domestic battery arrest came up in his background that kept him from being hired by the WWE, unfortunately. So that's why Moose never got his shot at the big time, pretty much. But he's definitely a well-tenured member of the TNA roster, and definitely one of the more popular and celebrated athletes that they have under contract there. So, that's unfortunate, but Moose has always been a strong hand when it comes to being a TNA wrestler, and I think him and Alex Shelley, their type of styles, will put on a great main event match, because Moose is a fucking powerhouse. Like Larry B said, he's a tank. Yeah, he was a fucking powerhouse. And you got Alex Shelley, who's a high-flying, cruiserweight type wrestler. So the clash in styles, I like seeing matches like that where you have one big guy and one smaller guy. They always seem to put on really great matches. So this will be a David and Goliath-esque World Championship match for sure. And that's coming to you live once again from the the Palms Casino Resort in Paradise, Nevada, January 13th, 2024. And if you can't be in the Nevada area live to witness it. You can also check it out on Fight TV app or pay-per-view and purchase the pay-per-view that way. And of course, coming to you live this coming Friday, it's the return of the Bloodline. Every member will be in attendance for SmackDown New Year's Revolution, where we will see the return of the head of the table, Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, Solo Sikoa, and the wise man himself, Paul Heyman. We'll also get a WWE Women's Championship match with Io Sky defending the WWE Women's title against Mia Yim, getting her first opportunity at a World Championship in the WWE. So that's going to be really awesome to see. SmackDown, of course, is going to be live this Friday on Fox. And the Royal Rumble, guys, it is now shaping up. I'm sure in the next few weeks we're going to get more and more matches announced. But so far, this is what we have. Also, this coming Friday is the finals for the United States Championship Tournament. Kevin Owens versus Santos Escobar. The winner of this match will face Logan Paul for the WWE United States Championship at the Royal Rumble. And also, the main event for... Wow, I'm like, all these things are starting to come back to me now. The main event for SmackDown New Year's Revolution will be a triple threat match to determine who will face Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble. Randy Orton versus AJ Styles versus LA Knight. Yeah! The winners of that match will face Roman Reigns in the undisputed WWE Championship match at the Royal Rumble. And of course, the other matches that have been announced for the Royal Rumble will be the 30-woman Royal Rumble match for a women's championship match at WrestleMania 40. And the 30-man Royal Rumble match for a world championship match at WrestleMania 4D. Yes! Man, WrestleMania season is in full swing, guys. The Royal Rumble comes to you live. This is the 37th annual Royal Rumble event. It's coming to you live from the Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida. St. Petersburg, Florida, and the Tropicana Field is not unfamiliar to the WWE, as this was the site of the Thunderdome during the pandemic, where they did their weekly shows and pay-per-view events inside this stadium, where they had electronic screens sitting in the crowd, piped-in crowd noise, and people could actually sign up via WWE.com to be live on those video screens, so you could actually see fans like live watching, streaming the events and television shows from the comfort of their very own home. Famously, actor Matthew McConaughey, all right, and his sons were actually seen on video on one of those video screens, because Matthew McConaughey is a very open and famous professional wrestling fan. So, man, it is going to be big time, guys. WrestleMania is on the horizon. I am so fucking excited. For the men's Royal Rumble, we already have 2 guaranteed spots already held in that match. The American Nightmare Cody Rhodes and the best in the world, CM Punk. They're trying to punch their ticket to WrestleMania, guys. Guys, go on this journey with me. Please stay tuned to every episode from now until WrestleMania. Trust me, you do not want to miss it. This is the highlight of my wrestling season. This is the highlight of my show, the IE Wrestling Show, and I want you to be on this ride with me. Thank you for tuning in to the very first episode of the IE Wrestling Show, the new year. I love y'all. I thank y'all. God bless. Have a beautiful new year. Have a safe new year. And I will see you guys next week. Same SoCal State time. Same SoCal State channel. Peace.